Welcome to the Fifth Gait Podcast. We have thrown around the idea of a podcast for years, but we finally made it happen, stuck in the truck together on a 10-hour road trip home from a horse show. Our passion is the Icelandic horse and all aspects of the worldwide community that surrounds this breed. Here, we come together as equestrian professionals to share our hardest lessons, biggest wins, and our future hopes in Icelandic horsemanship. Our conversations aim to educate, inspire, and grow all people like us who love Icelandic horses, from enthusiasts and amateurs to trainers, competitors, and field specialists. Welcome to the Fifth Gait Podcast, the Chicago O'Hare Airport edition.
Yes, as you can hear and see.
We're on our way to Iceland for a sales horse trip, which we'll be discussing that more in today's episode. But we decided to do a spur of the moment episode because we've taken a bit of a break.
Yes, consider this the kickoff of season 2, though we don't believe in seasons, but
we aren't organized enough for seasons. We're developing this further into a new edition.
Yes.
We're starting a new year, and we wanted to discuss where we're at in our businesses and just professionally, where we're developing, where our thoughts are. Also, just where we see Icelandic horsemanship and horsemanship in general, and discuss a little bit, reminisce about last year.
Yes.
And let's actually start with that, because last year was a big year. We did a lot of different events, traveled across the U.S. together, went all the way to Texas for Knights of Iceland performances last year.
At the beginning of last year. Yeah.
That was in the beginning. And then also, just crisscrossing the U.S. for shows, hosting events, doing workshops.
Also in Iceland.
Yeah,
for
trekking in Iceland. So it was a very diverse, multifaceted business year for both of our businesses and for our careers as horse people, if you can call that a professional career. I'll start by asking you, Mackenzie, what from 2025 were highlights for you, or things that you were really happy with or proud of in 2025?
So the first thing that comes to mind immediately is the success of my students last year. Though it wasn't anything where they were topping the rankings anywhere, it was so much fun to show up at different shows with a solid group of students that I've also now gotten to coach consistently and established a relationship with them, and also seen their development over the course of a full year, and then watch how it was executed on the track proficiently. And that was just such a huge win for me. And then also to have students that were in almost all levels of classes, which was a lot of fun to see, because I just this past year started to really lock in on teaching more. And then I also got to share horses with my students that I haven't, because either I've been riding them or someone else has been riding them. And to kind of put my students both to the test and to see those horses shine with new people, or to give new people
that opportunities.
Yeah, it was so rewarding.
I think it does hit a little different when you're able to share your horsemanship with other people and deliver success for them too.
Yes, absolutely.
I think you and I both share that a bit, that it's really fun to do our own careers and further ourselves, but it's also just very, very rewarding to see that be able to be delivered to someone else too, or help someone achieve their goals on their journey.
I think it's one thing to work on yourself and improve yourself and your partnership with your horse. It's another thing to feel and more or less be responsible for the partnership between another person and a horse, and to see that be successful.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of reward. I would even argue more rewarding to some degree.
Absolutely. It's just like being more nervous when your student's on the track than when you ride onto the track.
Yeah.
I've nearly had a heart attack a
Yes.
couple of times just watching a student ride onto the
For
onto
sure.
the old track.
For
So
sure. So what about you? What are the highlights for last year?
I think a couple of things. A highlight was with our pace mare Scrappa really furthering and continuing our understanding and expertise behind training pace horses. It's a passion of mine and I love it. And I didn't personally compete on her at the end of the year, but Terrell showed her in pace test, which for those of you who don't know, you do all the transitions. So you're judged on all the transitions into pace and also back slowing down at the end of the sprint. And you're given a score for the time. So it's this like speed and execution event that's really unique in our discipline. And as a part of that, I feel like our success in that, as successful as we were in that last showing in pace test, was actually really because of all sorts of collaborative effects.
Yes.
Leading up to that show, we had Ula Lambla, our national team trainer here in the US, coaching us, which was just life-changing. She's an incredible instructor. And then, interestingly enough, too, Patrick Sullivan, who came into the Liberty Clinic, was also doing bridleist lessons. Like I did a whole bridleist lesson on shoulder control. And some of that has really helped our pace mare just be more mentally balanced and also actually helped with canter cues for the pace test. So I felt like our success there was a testament to all of those helpers that we've had along the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Other people get to help in our success and we get to help in students. So I think that was one thing. And then the workshops for me, I think are the most rewarding events that I do.
Okay.
We started that. This will be our 4th year doing them.
I think so.
I think so. No,
Yeah.
3rd year.
Maybe third.
3rd year doing them. So we've done them 2 years last year. Yes, last year was our 2nd year doing the workshops. And it's just a learning model that I really enjoy, as opposed to like a 2-day clinic. It's a longer period of time where you're really getting to do a deep dive with the students. It's a smaller number of students than is normally in a clinic. So that also allows for more flexibility. And it means that I really feel in my teaching, there's so much more flexibility to go on deep dives and follow a particular thought or idea. Whatever the students are curious about, we can really chase that. So I really enjoy those, and the workshops were just really rewarding this past year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we have a couple things highlighted that we want to talk about, but Carrie's phone got locked, so we couldn't see them. So, okay, what was the next one? What are?
Oh yeah. So okay, we've talked about 2025. What are we looking most forward to in 2026?
Right. Yes, because we are in a new year already. So for me, I'm actually so excited about our calendar. Yeah. It kind hilariously, Carrie and I dreaded sitting down and actually mapping out our calendar because it felt so overwhelming. And it was quite a meeting. I mean, at least 2 hours of us piecing together what this year looked like. But then once we got everything on the calendar, and
I think we're very visual people, so highly recommend. We got like a 6-foot huge like dry erase calendar that
where you see every single day of the 2026 year. Yeah, and we all had equipped with expo markers. Ready to tackle 2026.
I think all is maybe a little exaggeration because you and I were very enthusiastically scribbling with erase markers, and Terrell and Cameron were tolerating the experience. But yes.
we were pulling their opinions out of them
exactly
begrudgingly. Anyways, I'm really excited about the calendar because it was funny all of last year. we actually kept having these conversations about how we needed to maybe just stick with what we've been doing and try to tighten that up and do it better, which we are still doing that, but our entrepreneurial selves couldn't help but try a bunch of new things this year too. And I'm really excited about those new things. We have several new events, also just people in our industry and in our circle that are growing their businesses that I'm really excited to support them in that way. And then continuing education opportunities, which those kind of go hand in hand because we have Kaylee Kavanaugh coming, and she's really deep dived into working equitation and has become her and Alex Venable have become quite the ambassadors in that discipline for Icelandic horses. So much so that they've created a whole test.
Yeah, specific to Icelandic horses. Yeah. So an Icelandic horse version of working equitation.
Which that's probably a whole podcast episode in itself. So we won't get into it, but just all of the great things that Kaylee has to say about how that has just changed her training and improved her horse's agility. Yeah. I'm really excited to incorporate it into our community and our students and our horsemanship. And then we also have some clinicians coming this year that I'm super excited to get teaching. Yes, which we haven't done in Kentucky in a long time. So yeah, very excited about all of those things. Yeah. It's always good to have new on the calendar. So maybe we had great intentions with the conversations about just trying to tighten up what we already do.
Yeah.
But new is also good because it's good to look forward to that adventure sort of as well.
I think so. I mean, for me, I feel like I'm doing a lot of the same things I've done the last 2 years, but I am definitely trying to do them better.
Yeah.
Be more thoughtful, more prepared, more considerate of all the different moving parts that create different events and different things that we're doing, and be more intentional about how things are built. So I am excited about that. For me personally, I'm in a little bit of an awkward place because other than our pace mare, our main competition stallion is having some health issues.
Right.
And looking forward into this year, I oftentimes use competitive goals to drive my personal horsemanship journey.
Yeah.
Because I feel like competitive goals often give you more discipline. And what's funny for me is I don't necessarily have as many Icelandic horse sport goals this year. I'm really working towards actually more Liberty events this year, particularly the Equine Liberty Organization championships, bridleless national championships in Tryon this year. So I'm very excited to work towards that. And we're going to have gated horse bridleless classes as a part of that event. So I'm pumped about just being a part of that and working towards that, especially because I actually do have horses that are begrudgingly some sessions becoming a sort of Liberty team. I don't know if we can call them a team yet.
They don't think of each other as a team.
We're working on team spirit building and unity, but I actually have multiple horses that I'm working together in different ways and really new ways for me, because I've had my kind of core Liberty team that's consisted of Tholen, my gelding, and then Cookie, my pony. And now we're adding to that team, and I'm working Tholen with another mare, and then I'm riding another horse, and there's just all of these moving parts. And I'm thrilled to just embark on a new level of Liberty training and see where that takes me and set some goals in that discipline. So yeah, that's 2026 and everything to do with that, except for the other part of 2026 is the reason that we're sitting here in this airport. We decided this year that one of the biggest changes we were going to make is we were going to try to engage more in horse sales.
Yes.
And this was a discussion all of last year as well.
We have reservations because horse sales are hard.
Horse sales are hard.
Yeah.
And for years in my business, at least, I've steered clear of a lot of horse sales. I've taken horses on consignment and done it in small,
very
bits,
small. Yeah.
Imported horses with clients, but it hasn't been kind of an active piece of what I've really intentionally worked on. It's been kind of like a side thing that just happened as a result of other stuff that I was doing. And the reason that I think sales are hard is just that there's a lot of pressure in predicting outcomes.
Yes. Yeah.
And that comes with all sorts of questions and sales also too. I think it's important to recognize the horse industry has, including the Icelandic horse industry, has a pretty shady past or bad reputation on certain parts of sales. So I think that's the other reason that I've wanted to steer clear. So what has shifted for us?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're doing what we said we wouldn't do.
Yeah. Especially, it is funny, especially if you were a fly on the wall in all of those conversations, you would recognize that there has been a big shift, because here we are now going to Iceland to find some good horses.
So for you, what has caused that shift? What has made you more passionate about?
So we'll talk more about, or we'll touch more on just the shift that we feel in the horse industry and trends that we're really excited about and we want to encourage. But that is part of why I think we need sales horses, good sales horses, because I just consider, well, it's not a secret that in the US there just is a very limited pool of sales horses, and because of that means also very limited pool of good horses. And at the same time, we have people that are very eager to find the right match, but when it is hard to go out and do that yourself.
Yeah.
And when we're considering how we're building our communities within our businesses, I think the best chance of success we have in a flourishing community is to do everything in our power to vet those horses ourselves.
Yeah.
And then I can't think of the word. Advocate for them.
Yeah, facilitate the process.
Yes. Yeah. So the reason why I really wanted this trip is because I would love to see good horses join our community. And then of course too, not only are those horses hopefully joining the community that we already have, as in the client pool that we already work closely with, but having good horses also gives the opportunity to new horse and rider combos that have not yet entered into our community. And we don't have that right now here.
Yeah.
And like I said, what better way to just to not guarantee, but to...
There are no guarantees with sales, but we'd like to put our efforts and what we've learned through the years behind our community. And behind growing our community.
Yes. Yeah.
Put what the knowledge and the skills and the experiences that we've cultivated towards helping people find good matches and suitable horses.
Absolutely.
It's funny for me. I think what has changed for me on the sales front is I was just kind of, Carrie, wake up. You wouldn't be here if people hadn't sold you horses.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If Guðmar hadn't sold me my first Icelandic mare, I wouldn't be an Icelandic horse trainer today.
Yeah.
And horse ownership, I think, really changes people into more meaningful members of community, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
just
We've talked
being
about
a
that.
lesson student, you need to own a horse to truly engage in horsemanship,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important to facilitate, once again, opening that door for people. And that's true even now. Like recently, the last horse that Terrell and I bought was Scrap Our Pace horse. And look how many opportunities for learning and growth that has given Terrell and I. And that would have never been possible if Hinny and Hulda, the Aurbaka, hadn't sold her to us.
That's so true.
Because of that, I want to be more a part of giving people or helping facilitate those opportunities for people.
And the reason we are also doing it in this specific model is because we know just the uncertainty of purchasing a horse overseas, more or less sight unseen, just off of videos and through more or less strangers.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that just going and finding these horses for ourselves and vetting them or not vetting them, through just like you said, our experience, and we've actually created a riding test that we're going to put them through that we think is very suitable for the American market. Anyways, that we hope that we're building confidence for
this process. It's a risky process. There is risk involved, right, in purchasing a horse and flying them on a plane and driving them across the country. But there are ways to mitigate that risk.
Yes.
And there are ways to do it so that the chances of success are so much higher for horse and buyer.
Yes.
For, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what was the next one?
We had two more questions that we wanted to discuss. One is, what is most on our minds with the current state of the horse industry and potential directions that the horse industry is going? And I wanted to say that just my observation of the world today is there's just a lot of stress. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of strife politically on just so many fronts. And I think that there is real value, especially in the day and age of AI, for real experiences, in person, real experiences.
And there is nothing that does that more than being with a horse and being in partnership with a horse.
And within the horse industry, it's so funny. We're in an age of information. You can look up how to train a horse online and get hundreds of different trainers with different opinions, and you can get this training program and that training program and this training concept and that training opinion, and endless amounts of available information. People don't need more information necessarily.
No.
They actually need hands-on help.
Yeah.
They need someone guiding them through working with their horse, riding their horse, having experiences with their horse in the moment.
Yes.
Not a video of how to, right?
Yes.
And I love all the virtual resources. I love information. I love podcasts, right? So it's not to minimize that so much as say that I think we're at a pivotal point in the horse industry where we need to root back into those real life experiences and that hands-on help with your horse day to day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think my point sort of goes hand in hand with that. I think because of this critical eye towards the horse industry, or really any industry working with animals, there's been a lot of negativity or criticism. But I think the unique shift that is actually exciting is that I think at first people were very overwhelmed with all of the negative attention, and actually were throwing their hands up to the point that they're like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm better off just not touching my horse or not doing anything. And now people are realizing or just reevaluating their relationship with their horse and taking personal responsibility. And that shift towards personal responsibility is really, I think, motivating people to seek out these more in-person events or just these relationships with trainers. And people are recognizing their partnership with the horse as more personal and not based on like a measurable goal or a competitive goal.
Yeah. The real value is
The real values in the partnership now, which I actually think is, even though it was hard to swallow because of the way that it came about, I actually think it's a really exciting direction because it makes everything we do so much more meaningful.
I want to add to that because that transitions perfectly into my other note on this topic. As we root into this in-person real experiences with our horses, one of the text conversations I had with Jeff, who's on our USRC board here in the United States, Icelandic Horse Congress, was that we need to shift also into a curiosity mindset and not a shaming or blaming mindset.
Absolutely.
What I would love to see for 2026 is I would love for people to see all the information online on your phone, but then put it down, go out to the barn, ride your damn horse, right? Like just get on the horse and go, work with your horse, take lessons, do clinics, be in person. And then when you're in those situations and when you're watching someone else in that situations, come to that with a sense of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks like that rider's struggling a little bit. Why could that be? Are they having to do this because of this? As opposed to a place of shaming or blaming, oh, that rider's really screwing up, you know?
Yeah.
I think if we can show up with that mindset too, that will support people in really enjoying and being with their horses.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kind of all connects in a fun way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that also goes to my last point too on just or when we talk about the future of horsemanship is I do just think it's shifting towards personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, just makes it more meaningful for us as trainers and also meaningful for the horses and humans involved in that relationship triangle.
So when it comes to the future of horsemanship, thinking about where we're at on that front, because our podcast always ends with asking people that we're interviewing questions about where they see the horsemanship in general going. What are topics that you feel are going to be particularly pertinent now in 2026?
Topics within horsemanship?
Within the future of horsemanship, kind of where it's going.
That's a great question. I think, for better or worse, I do think it's going to be more about how the individual feels about the success, not about how the success is actually measured.
Yeah.
Which that I was thinking about when you were talking about your 2026 goals. That is actually sort of a personal goal of mine with my competition horse. Is this year I want to enter the oval track and I want to feel through the performance, the preparation that I have done to make that feel like it was executed well. And part of that preparation done is done in fairness to the horse. Yeah. And so for me, I'm looking for that feeling this year, which has nothing to do with the score. But do we feel prepared? Does he feel confident in what I'm asking of him? And does he also feel physically ready to offer it?
Yeah.
in a confident way, in a like an empowering way for him? And then does it feel like also we've established a communication to where when I ask, it's clear for him and I can just allow him to do that without feeling like I have to manage it so uh, so closely or so minutely, but I can just let him do it. But that comes with preparation, and so that's the goal for me this year. Which I just think that goes back to future of horsemanship. It's just about like how we measure that feeling is maybe the future.
Yeah, I've had two recent future horsemanship things that I have been obsessing over. One builds on what you're saying in that one of the things that I'm noticing is a constant struggle in our industry is this juxtaposition of seeing all sorts of different types of horsemanship goals and really making all of them valid, taking all of them seriously, but also being cautious that they're relevant to the rider's skill and the horse's skill. And to the rider's situation and the horse's situation. We've had conversations about how horses and riders end up unsafe because certain goals aren't actually tailored to the two individuals, right?
To where their skill level or their preparation
and
is.
oftentimes that's just a knowledge gap on the rider's part because they don't make wise choices for themselves and the horse. And that actually becomes a social license issue, safety, right? And a lot of safety comes down to wisdom in regards to what kind of goals you set, what situations you choose to put your horse in. And like you're talking about, okay, I choose to compete on my horse, but my personal goal is that that competition feels a certain way, right? So thinking about how we frame goals in regards to what's good for us and our horses.
Yeah.
So I think that's one piece. The other piece that I've been obsessing over moving into 2026 is I've had some deep-seated frustration, actually not with horsemanship as much as just horse care.
Yes.
And that's a topic for an entire podcast. But to summarize, because I think that this is pertinent actually, as we talk about the future of horsemanship, is our training sessions are such a short period of the horse's day. Maybe you ride your horse for an hour, and then there are 23 other hours where your care practices are actually what matters. And I feel like in the horse industry, care practices are oftentimes oversimplified in ways that make them practically so complicated. What I mean by that is we all know that horses are herd animals.
Like they're like not oversimplified, they're
I'll give an example. So horses are all herd animals, right? So horses should be kept together. But I run a training barn, so our herds aren't stable. Horses are coming and going. Horses are moving. That's also really tough on horses. That's really tough on horse relationships. So what does it practically look like to fulfill a horse's social needs within the context of my training barn? On the one hand, that's a very simple principle. Horses are herd animals and need to be kept with other horses. On the other hand, practically speaking, that's actually tricky implementation day to day, right? And I think that that type of question is going to just be really pertinent in the coming years in horsemanship. And I would like to see more practical solutions discovered.
Yeah, agreed.
That also to balance, I've had some conversations with people recently, like oftentimes there's a nutritionist perspective and there's a behavioralist perspective and there's a veterinary perspective with medical issues. And then there's the trainer's perspective. And there's actually very little like practical amalgamation
of all of those
perspectives when it comes to best care practices.
also within the means or within the situation that you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like for us, our farm was already built when we showed up there.
Right.
Right. So I could theoretically sit down and dream up my best farm design that would set us up for the most like horse friendly daily care and management. But our farm is already built and we don't have endless resources to set it up
To be
differently
able to-
necessarily, right? So how do we cope within each of our contexts, each of our environments?
Yeah.
So that is my other like perhaps goal, but also contemplation for 2026 is I would love to see more conversations around practical solutions to making horses' daily lives better.
Yeah.
In whatever ways we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe we're already doing a good job on some fronts too. Like recognize that.
The other thing is I would like to also just see more of people applauding each other for doing their best.
Yes.
Because if the horse is healthy physically and emotionally, like observably healthy, and
then you must be doing something right.
and the management is thoughtful, right?
Yes.
And the management is thoughtful, and there's like a why. There's a reason behind what that management practice looks like on a daily basis. Then there is no reason to not applaud that person for doing a good job.
No, we want to criticize them because it doesn't align with our moral compass on what we think is right. No.
But this also goes back to the conversations that we've had about like just knowing your horse.
Yes.
And to a degree, a management practice should be reflective of that individual horse's needs as well. Because some need more of some things and some need less of some things. And that you don't know that unless you know your horse.
I think that's a great point to end with, that we need to, in our industry, moving forward in 2026, see what's working and recognize that and chase that, follow that, and also notice when things don't align with it. Right? We can be cognizant of that and treat that with curiosity, not shame and blame, curiosity, and see where that takes us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that was a great place to end. So
that's it. Now we take our flight.
Now we are literally going to board our flight to Iceland, and we have a great adventure ahead of us. And we can't promise a regular schedule of podcast episodes because we have a lot of exciting things going on this year, but you will hear from us again.
And we have some fantastic guests.
Yes.
Coming up
over
the next couple months. So definitely stay tuned.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Fifth Gait Podcast. I know you've heard this on other channels, but it really is so important that you like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening through, or all of them for that matter. We would also love to hear from you on social media. Please send us ideas, suggestions. Let us know what you're enjoying right now so we can continue to make content you want to watch and hear. Thank you again for your support, and we will see you next time on the next episode of the Fifth Gait Podcast.